Few seconds to hit streaming. Setting up our meeting. Go streaming. Wow.
Let me see. I can see a little bit better with these on.
All righty, we are ready to go. Got it. Good morning, everyone. It's 11 a.m. here in beautiful Northern California. I'm here in Vacaville, California. My name is Tamori Richardson, and welcome to another rendition of Tea Talk. We have a wonderful guest with us here today. As you know, we always try to bring you guests that you can benefit from and use information to always elevate you as not only a business, but an individual, your family perspective, your mental health, and so much more. So let me introduce our guest and get right on into it. Dr. Pat Boulogne. I want to read her bio. It is she is extremely accomplished in so many different areas. She is a high performance mastery mentor coach, DR of functional medicine and lifestyle strategist. She is an international best-selling author. Her books have been promoted on Fox, NBC, ABC, CBS, and International Business Times, and more. She is a highly sought-after guest leader and influencer on radio, podcasts, and summits around the world. She is the CEO and founder of Health Team Network. It is a company that's dedicated to skyrocketing health, lifestyle, and mindset with superior science-based solutions and programs and where results matter. She is a Midwesterner through and through, born and raised and schooled. Her other educational and experience spans over 38 years of clinical science. As a doctor of chiropractic and acupuncture physician, while holding multiple certifications as a chiropractic sports physician, functional medicine practitioner, and lifestyle medicine coach, as well as additional training in Chinese sports medicine at the National Olympic Training Center in Beijing, China. Her medical volunteer services include Special Olympics, Boston Marathons, men's and women's pro volleyball games, international windsurfing championships, and the LPGA, and more. She is passionate about sharing knowledge and solutions and making sense of challenges that result in even better outcomes that keep you on top of your game at work, home, or play, and everything you need to have better health and mindset mastery. So definitely, everyone, let's welcome Dr. Pat Boulogne. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for such a great introduction.
Oh, no, listen, your experience is magnificent, and I'm excited for you to really share with the audience what you do and how what you do is really a benefit to us. So please.
Well, first off, again, thank you very much for the opportunity to be here. And one of the things I love to do is I love to share my knowledge because I love to see people thrive. And it really it makes my day making massive differences in people's lives. And one of the things that, how I do that, I always say that I used to say I was a mentor and coach, but the real point of what I do is that I'm a coach with a mentor's heart. And I help executives and entrepreneurs and busy professionals, which includes moms and dads, by the way, get the most out of their day, be productive, and realize their greatest goals in less time. And I always ask people, why do you think it is that people don't reach their goals? And I've been told so many things, but it's just like, but that's what I help people have that breakthrough with, and making that list and checking it twice and making sure that you have your I's dotted and your T's crossed, in all aspects of your life, especially your wellness.
Excellent. One of the things that I really like that's in your bio where you state that helping individuals making sense of challenges that result in even better outcomes that keep you on top of your game at work, home, or play. Could you add a little bit to that? What does that look like and what does that sound like for people?
Well, a lot of times people don't have a really hard time. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but they really have a hard time getting out of their own way. And like your friends see it, but they won't tell you, so having that, a trusted source who's like a third party that's not, they're invested in your outcome for being more healthy and seeing you be productive, but they're not a close friend who you're never going to talk to if they tell you that, by the way, when you turn the snooze alarm off 20 times, you're not being productive. You're not,
Right.
jumping on with both feet down and challenging your day. And so why is that? And talking about something like that. So what I do is I help people realize sometimes their childhood traumas of
Mm,
whatever that they heard, which whether it was right or not, because people bury those emotional things in their body someplace.
right.
And when they bury that emotion someplace in their body, it will keep on coming up and hit you like a brick wall almost every time. Anytime you want to be successful, you'll take 5 steps forward and you go, why is it every time I get to this one point, that it seems like I just can't make it. It's just like I don't, I hit the ceiling. I just, or I lose momentum, or somebody says something to you like, you don't deserve to do that. You got to learn how to get rid of toxic people in your life. And there's a nice way to do it that you don't have to be, it's just like you just keep arm's distance. And I teach a technique called freeze that I call it freeze so that you can protect your energy because your energy is precious.
Right.
Everything is frequency. Like your cells, your protons, your neutrons, and your electrons in your body, they all have a charge. And so if your body has a charge, then things around you either where you're attracting great things or you're attracting bad things. So you got to figure out like where's the glitch. And I help people find that glitch and then actually get to a point to where they can say, oh, that's happening again. I know what that is. You don't control me anymore. Because I talk specifically to three brains and how the three brains function. The primitive brain, which I call the lizard brain, and rightly so, and mammalian brain, which stores all your emotions, anything that's ever action happened to you, positive or negative, it's stored there. And then your conscious brain, which is very intimately connected to the mammalian brain. So you can take those negative things that you keep on responding to and switch them around. Sometimes just by simply doing an affirmation. Sometimes it's a combination of things that you need to do to go from point A to point C. It's very different. Everything that I do with somebody is done for, with a goal in mind, and to go from point A and Z, and no two people are alike. So my programs are very, very personalized, they're individualized to get people unstuck so they can keep moving forward in all aspects of their life.
Excellent. So, Dr. Pat, two things that you mentioned that stuck out to me. One, I'm a certified mental health advocate, so everything about mental health and how it allows us to function always perks up my eyebrows, right? So
Hmm.
you stated that the childhood trauma that continues to come back. And I think there is a mindset from people that thinks I will outgrow the things of my past, or I will outthink it, or I'll block it and shut it out. And what I appreciate, as you said, is that these things are going to continue to come up. Like they don't
Hmm.
just go away. It's a process to that, as well as mentioning about keeping toxic people out of your life. Those
Hmm.
those really are really synonymous with allowing you to move forward mentally.
Oh, absolutely. And you think about outgrowing the past, I will tell you my own personal experience with that. I had a teacher who was in San Diego, and I believe he's still alive. His name is Scott Walker. He's a doctor of chiropractic, and he teaches a technique called NET. I know that they updated the name of it, but when I learned it as neuro-emotional tracing. So you trace back your emotions to an organ, time, space, or an event. And so he got me on stage in front of a lot of people in Philadelphia. I was jet lagged. I just got home from being in Europe for 3 weeks. And I'm thinking, I don't think I should actually go because I'm taking more time off. People are going to forget that I have a practice. But I went. I was really driven to go. And so I get there and he asked for a volunteer. So there's about 200 people in this conference at that time. And my hand went up, and there's other people whose hand went up, and I'm in the back of the room, and he said, and I'm thinking, me? He said, yes, you, and he goes, come up here. And so when I got up there and he's doing his technique on me, which is like looking at, a first, like, where's your weakest link?
Right.
Yeah. And so he found the weakest link, which is my liver. And liver always relates for people to anger or sudden anger, things like that, for resentment, the gallbladder. There's emotions that in Chinese medicine that go along with that, but are basic. But then you go down like, well, why did you get angry? Why?
Mhm.
Why? And what happened? So he looked at me and he said, you were abandoned. And I just said, I was abandoned? Where are you getting that from? I go, I don't think so. And he said, no, you were abandoned when you were 2 years old. How am I supposed to remember what 2 years old look like? And so, he did this, technique on me. And I felt so relieved. My boyfriend at the time lived in Philadelphia. And when, I left that weekend, it's just like I felt absolutely nothing. I always felt strange on Sundays. My father, when he left my mother and they had their divorce, I had that same feeling when he left, but I had it before then, looking back at it. And when I was 2 years old, I had pneumonia, and my
Mhm.
parents took me to the hospital, and they kept me at the hospital for 3 weeks.
Mm.
And so I asked my mother this. I called her up. I said, what happened to me when I was 2 years old? Oh, yeah, you had pneumonia. It was like no big
Mm.
deal,
Right.
and they helped you because you were sick. And I'm thinking, did anybody ever think of like how that psychologically affected me, which
Right.
affected the rest of my life? But when
Mm.
he did this specific technique, which I do with people online, this specific technique also, because you can do it. You can just have to be very connected to the person who you're working with, and have to know things. You have to, it's a journey. It's not like a one-time, shot and you're done. But at any rate, when he did that, I never had that feeling again, ever, even to this day.
Wow. Amazing.
And that was like back at least 30 years ago. And then I
Wow.
started doing it in my office. My biggest mistake in my office about doing this, I really needed to delegate specific time to do it, because sometimes people who subdue and they suppress that memory. Like, I had a woman who was molested when she was 11 years. She suppressed that memory. When I started working on her, it came to life,
Right.
bigger than life. And
Mm.
this time around, she was like, she was a little bit hard to control, but we were able to work together with that, so that I go, you're not leaving my office unless you're in good shape.
Right.
And I said, so we're going to figure this out. I walked in my waiting room. I said, I got a situation in the back I got to deal with. I go, if you guys were back there, you'd want me to do the same thing. And I go, so if you got to reschedule, reschedule. If not, I'll see you shortly, and whenever that is,
Yeah.
or you can come back at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, something like that. And everyone's going, don't worry, Dr. Pat, we'll just read. And they're probably more curious about who it was, right? Because it was a very small town.
Right.
Um, so the whole moral of that story and what ended up happening is she had this memory. We were able to take it. So she changed it into being so reactive and taking it into being just a memory. So it was no
Mm.
longer, her body wasn't responding to it,
Right.
and then she left. I never saw her again, even to this day. But her husband came in about 6 months later, and my staff thought for sure he was my new boyfriend. And they're like, some guy's here, he's got flowers for you. Someone
Mm.
new? I said, no, 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 no. I'm not dating anybody. Can't be. I go, that can't be that. Are you sure? You're just trying to keep it a secret. Thinking,
Right.
you can't keep anything a secret on Cape Cod. I said, I don't think so. I walked out and he goes, you don't know me, but thank you for giving me my wife back. And I went,
Wow.
who are you? Because
Wow.
I had a very successful, I saw a lot of people. I go, who are you? When he told me who he was, I said, and he goes, these flowers are for you. And I said, you don't have to give me flowers. I said, it's good to know. I said, just tell your wife that you ran into me at the grocery store or something like that, and I was so glad to hear about it. I gave you these flowers to give to her. That's easy.
Sure.
He goes, and he just said, no, I already gave her flowers today. And I said, well, yeah, I go, I don't think of something else, or give them to go to the nursing home across the street and give them to the girl at the front desk. I'm sure she could use them.
Right.
And my staff is going, what about me? I said, you already
They'll
got your
take them.
flowers, but but it was such, it was, that feeling the day that he came in, I can't express to you as a practitioner and a doctor what I'm going to, it was music to my ears. You
Mhm.
know, it told me the universe is telling me you're doing the right thing, you
Right.
know, and keep on doing it. And I kept on doing it. And then I switched my careers and went back to school to study acupuncture.
I mean, that is fantastic. Number one, you cannot outlive your past. Like, I don't care
Mm-mm.
what your past was,
Nope.
you cannot outlive it. You have to have that coming to Jesus moment, if you will, and really work through it, or it will stagnate you. Absolutely. So,
Hmm.
I do want to, excuse me, talk to you about your history and your experience are kind of polar opposites because you
Hmm.
went to college for chiropractic and acupuncture. So how does one correlate to the other? How did you go from, being in the Special Olympics, supporting the Olympics to now you're really focusing on individuals and their mental health and their well-being? How did that happen?
Well, I will tell you one of my most special moments in my life was working the Special Olympics. It's a place where you have kids, that don't do well. I mean, don't function well. They're running the race, with one leg and crutches. They decided that they're not going to stop until they get across the finish line. So the end person who comes across the finish line sometimes gets a bigger ovation than the person who won the race.
Right.
And and that time was at Harvard University. At that time, everybody they were great. And I was working inside the medical room, and I had three boys that asked me to marry them. I go, this is the most proposals I've had in one day. And they were just really cute. And they go, what does one have to do in order to marry you? And I said, first off, I go, you're too young for me. He said, hmm. And he said, can't do anything about that. And he goes, but I like you,
Right.
and it was just one of those, it was a really great moment. He had a
If it
little
was that
over,
simple.
if it was that simple for sure, you know, and, so when, studying and and I had really good teachers like, Dr. Scott Walker, Victor Frank, who's no longer alive, people who said, what you got isn't what you got. And so in order to really help people, you had to look below the surface. So in Chinese medicine, how I do Chinese medicine on an individual or VIP level with people is that I will ask them questions like I will first take off the emotional charge. Because sometimes they just got done yelling at the guy who cut in front of them, and that energy is still there. So I take the emotional charge off, and then I go say, so what's really going on? And or I'll say like, are you been thinking about, I go, something that happened to you? Like, I'm an intuitive healer. So I'll ask like some bizarre question, that they'll look at me like, how do you know that?
Wow.
And I'm thinking, I don't know. It's just when I'm touching you, I can see that picture in my head of you. So I'm thinking about like, why is it? Because here's that why question again. And the name of my book, Why Are You Sick, Fat, and Tired? And that why has been prevalent is my keyword for my life. But it's interesting to see how people get to where they got. And it's so much easier to see the bigger picture of how all they need to do is just take the motion picture of what's been happening to them, find the very, 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 very beginning of that, and take the charge off the beginning. Because if you take something that happened with somebody who was 10 years old, and then they had something that happened when they were 2, like me,
Right.
it's just like if they kept on taking the charge off 10, all this, that would never change anything. You've got to go back to the source. You got to know what your basics are. Those basic numbers mean something, and you have to know what your foundation is. So when you know your foundation is, you can do so much more.
Right.
It's
Oh, absolutely.
fantastic. It's
Yeah.
so much fun. And then you see
Definitely.
changes. Kids who had ADD don't have ADD anymore, and it's such a great combination of right side, left side brain,
Mm,
and like even kids who are like I treated, I used to have a Saturday clinic for kids who are autistic when nobody was autistic.
right.
And it's just but it was great to see these kids who are like all over the place. do with a little bit of cranial sacral work, like calm down, and then be peaceful. And then they're nice for the rest of the day. Someone wanted to know if their kid could move in with me. I said, no. I got I babysit everybody all day long, Monday through Friday. So it's like,
Right.
no,
All
that's not
yours.
going to work. But I love it because, we have so many things that they overthink things. Sometimes people are so perpetually tired, they overthink everything.
Yeah.
And when they overthink everything, it changes how your body functions. It changes how you digest your foods. So we know that like anxiety, depression, and a lot of those types of like mental wellness issues that come up, a lot of them are from the gut, but they start with your thoughts. And if you can't you have to master your thoughts in order to go from point Z to, from Z to A or from A to Z. You have to know what's going on in your brain so you're not overthinking things and you're able to go like, okay, I know what that is. Or is there anything I can do about X, Y, and Z at 3 o'clock in the morning when you can't sleep? If there's something that you can do, get up and do it.
Right.
Then give yourself permission to go back to sleep. And it's the same thing when you're thinking like, should I call my girlfriend up for the 20th time and ask her the same question? The answers might be no, but it might be yes. But before you do that, you have to like, what is it that's really bothering me?
Right.
And what's the source of it? Because if you know the source, then you can go to the right person to get help.
Right. Absolutely. And that's
Right.
often very hard for people. It really is, being able to go directly and deal directly with individuals. That's really always the best way to go.
Well, what I have found, I worked in a clinic one time that the primary language in the clinic was Spanish. They're all Hispanic. It was a Hispanic neighborhood, and the woman who worked there, her name, I loved her name. Her name was Santa, but I called her, Santana, and and she, and so she would interpret for me. But what I noticed is that all these women, when I asked them to do something in the room, perpetually apologized to me. And I said, stop saying, I'm sorry. Please, you drive people crazy when you say that all the time. Just say, like, what happened? Find out what happened and then ask, how can I fix that for you? What can I do to make it better? So it's likelihood, and I will give it my all to go from point A to Z so that doesn't happen again. Did I say I'm sorry? No, because every time you do that, you take away your energy, and you give it to somebody who might not deserve it. You reserve, I'm sorry for something that you did really bad, and right. But we all do it. I do it. I still find myself every once in a while, and I'm thinking I'm pretty good at mastering my thoughts, saying to somebody, I'm so sorry that happened. When someone dies, you always say, I'm sorry for your loss, because you are sorry for their loss. That's a good time to say, I'm sorry, But, you broke a dish. It's like, oh my God, I broke it. Can I replace it for you?
Right.
And if you just, it's just like that. It's that mindset around that. So I would love to take a lot of women on a weekend camping trip. I don't camp, by the way. My idea of camping is a hotel. And and go in and saying like, where's that? Why do you think that way? And because if you can have that paradigm shift about where that comes from, other things start to happen in your life and you open yourself to a lot of goodness, love. You can inspire, you can instigate, and you can ignite your life in a very, very different way.
Absolutely. Listen, you plan that trip, I'm there. Give me the date and the time.
We'll do it. We'll co-do it together.
There you go. There you go. This has been wonderful. Before we get ready to wrap up, though, I want you to tell us a little bit more. You've given us a lot of information about acupuncture and so forth. I'm actually want to talk to you about something about that afterwards, but kind of but you're the CEO and founder of Health Team Network. So tell us a little bit more what you might have missed out before, just kind of the totality. And we're definitely want to make sure we're going to give everybody information on how to get in contact with you as well.
Well, for sure. I work virtually. I have gone to people's houses, and when I go to people's houses, it's a funny experience because I always open the refrigerator and then I start reading labels. And so, and when I start reading labels, those labels usually end up in the trash can, because you have to understand the quality and the quantity of food that you're putting in your body. Your body's a temple. So what you eat is really important.
Very
And so a tip that I can give everybody is this is important tip because clients start doing this, they have that, oh my God moment. Why do they put sodium dioxide in lemon juice as a preservative? It's not good for you.
Mm.
So why is that? But keep your ingredients, look at your ingredients, make meals that are only 5 ingredients, keep it under 5. And then your body will heal from inside out. You'll start thinking better, you'll feel better, and you'll move better, and you'll have a better opportunity to have longevity and good shape. So,
Excellent.
you asked me where people like you and I found each other on LinkedIn,
Yes.
which is a good place to find a plethora about me. I have a lot of posting and I do a lot of B2B, B2C with people. And my favorite time though is doing one-to-one, that coaching with the mentor's heart. I'm also on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I do have a Twitter account, but I never visit it. I mean, it's not something I follow. I post to it, but my goal in there is just to offer information that might trigger somebody to go look back at the trail of where did that come from? Who is that? And then find me on my website, which is called Health Team Network. And that's a .com. And it's three words, Health Team Network. And that's a good place to find me and find out what offerings I have. Like besides my book, I also recommend other books in the library. I don't have any connection to making any money with that. And I have products that are on the product page and a free gift if you come to my website.
Excellent. Well, Dr. Pat Boulogne, thank you so very much for everyone out there in YouTube land and who sees this video. We will make sure that Dr. Boulogne's information, website, books, and all of that is listed. I really encourage everyone to reach out. Why? Why? Because you cannot run past your past. And oftentimes the circle that you have are not always able to get it done. So someone like Dr. Boulogne can come in there and help you figure out where you need to make the necessary changes. So absolutely appreciate you being here with us. And we look forward to staying connected, and any new projects that you have come up, please come and visit us and see us as well. So thank you so much, Dr. Pat Boulogne. And everyone have a wonderful rest of your Monday.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely.